How do?
You just scared me then.
Sorry, we're live, Clive. Ciara, right, first thing first, going to get some information out there. Channel has a new email, therealporridgepodcast@gmail.com. I will put that in all future descriptions, and I'm going to start using the pinned comments now. I'll put it in the pinned comments, unless I'm putting other information in the pinned comments. How's it going, lass?
All right.
Just gonna have a little chat with Ciara. There's a couple of people actually I'm going to be interviewing, so as a bit of a prelude, what's it like having a criminal as a boyfriend, fiance, partner?
No,
what is it? What is it?
Well, that's my fiance.
It's my
and the 4th ring, though. Do you know what I mean? I doubt there'd ever be a wedding.
How many rings?
4.
Can I ask where the rings came from?
Well, some of them got bought. We'll put
Okay.
it that way, with legitimate cash.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
No, seriously, right.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been with Marvin a long time. Incidentally, guys, another bit of information. All the current content pulled from Forest Bank in 4 parts. Ciara and Marvin together. Ray Gilbert, who I'm interviewing now for his story. Sean, Lost Childhood, playlists. Have a look at my playlist. Everything with Marvin and Ciara is together there. And like I say, in the descriptions now, started putting all the links. So you click on one video, they're all standalone videos, and you can go from that video to all the other stuff with people. So what is it like living, or not living, because a lot of time you weren't there?
Yeah, half the time I went there for 5.5 years. It's crazy living with a criminal, like.
Why are you talking so fast?
I'm not.
Okay.
Are you trying to show me up on camera?
I would not dare.
Know your place, Sammy boy. Know your place.
I know my place. I know my place.
So it's crazy. Do you know what, right? Nowadays, like, a lot of girls, like, want to be with a criminal, you know? It's glorified, isn't it, for the...
Bad boys.
We were talking about it before, weren't we? Like, for the money and the status and that. And do you know what? Let me tell you, when they close their door at night and they hang up the phone from the boyfriend in jail, it's... Then reality hits you.
Is it horrible?
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Especially when you're a straight member and, you know, you don't commit crime or you don't take drugs. It's horrible. Like, I remember when I first booked a visit called Strangeways, and I was like, oh, I'm going to see what the inside of a jail's like. You know, you get excited. And by the time you've done 5 visits, it's like, I've had enough of this place.
I can understand, you know, I like new experiences and that. However, me and Alice ran about it the other day. You know, she said, so if I got locked up for 2 years, I said, oh, you'd be gone. I didn't say that. But yeah, I can't even imagine it. I can't imagine, you know, wanting to be with someone and them not being there.
Yeah. It's crazy when they're at home as well, though. Because, like, obviously, at least with me, and the nuisance calls I used to get, you know, I'd be in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, he wouldn't be there. I'd bum my front door to go down. I'd be like, he's not here.
Coppers?
Coppers.
How many times did that happen?
Once a day. At least once a day, they'd be knocking my door. At least.
Really?
Yeah. And they do it at weird times just to annoy me and annoy the neighbours. Like 2 o'clock in the morning, shining the torches through the window. And, you know, because we had the dog, so they know that they do that, they're going to catch the attention of the dog. The dog's going to start barking. And I'm not going to know it's them shining it. I'm going to go, shut up, sister. And then they know what I'm in.
So, begs the question then, why did you stay with him, as it were? Because a lot of the time you're not with him, are you? Obviously, you loved him.
Yeah.
Or do.
I loved him, he was like my best mate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I won't sit there and say, like, there wasn't times where I didn't...
Kick him into touch.
Yeah, I didn't, like, you know, said to him, I can't do it anymore. And then we'd ghost him for a few days. I don't know, we always just got drawn back to each other. Like I said, I seen the person behind the drug addict. And I think that's what made me stay with him. But it's draining, it's draining. Like, you'll have the neighbours talking about you, you'll go from morning to... Then they're looking at you like, you know, you're a piece of crap. Because the police are outside the door. I mean, especially when he stripped himself naked and started fucking cutting his tag off on the street. It's not normal, is it?
I've never done that.
Well, I've never done that. And I've got to work, and then the police are coming in my work.
I'll tell you, right, I've seen the other side of the coin. Obviously not from an emotional point of view, but lads on remand were different. Once they got sentenced, a lot of lads bin the missuses. As in, you know, they'd start, you could tell, they'd be on the phone, you're on the landing and that, it'd get a bit heated or whatever, and, you know, these lads used to talk to you and they'd have conversations, and they'd literally, without saying, look, move on, I'm going to be in prison 7 years, they would.
Yeah, well, me and Marvin spoke about that.
They would.
I think what kept me with Marvin is that he never did longer than, like, say, obviously at the beginning, because he was on licence, longer than, like, say 4 months, and we did speak about it. He said to me, if I get like a 2 or over, you know, I want you to move on, you know, don't wait for me. I don't know how you could put yourself in that position. Like, could I have really done it? But then life's different out here, and then obviously because, you know, they're prisoners, they've got a lot more time to think about, like, what's she doing on the out, you know, stuff. So men can get paranoid, can't they?
Well, I always used to play devil's advocate. A lot of lads would come to you and, like, you know, they'd ask you what you do. I couldn't answer that, could I? But they would say, you know, I'm going to be doing 9 years, boom, boom, boom. So I'd just say, okay, so let's suppose you're at home and your missus is getting locked up for 9 years.
Oh,
and they'd be like, are you kidding? I'm not waiting now.
There you go.
And, you know, that affects. However, there is people, you know, I've done massive sentences, been doing long sentences, some at lads, some at orderlies we had on healthcare. I remember one of them, 2 of them actually are both due out this year. I don't know whether they're out now. They were both at Buckley Hall. They'll know what I mean. One of them lads, similar age to me, might be a little bit older, round about 60-ish. He'd been with his missus from sort of teenage years, and he done this last sentence he's done is a 13-year.
Sure. I'll tell you what, I'll give her credit for that. I'll give her credit.
But
13 years waiting for someone. Tell you what, you've got to have a lot of love for them and a lot of patience.
well, you know, they've got families, they've got kids.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? To, you know, I mean, I'm blessed that I didn't, you know, have my son at the time. I wouldn't have brought my son on jail visits, I'll tell you that for a fact. I've seen little babies when they go on jail visits, and, you know, the nappies are checked and the bottles are checked, and it's not an environment you want your kid in.
You know why staff do that, though,
Yeah,
don't
of
you?
course, they've got
because
to.
I've other side of it, I've seen on camera, you know, lads take baby straight in the nappy, plug
Drug mule.
something in it.
Yeah, drug mule, innit? And I just wouldn't do it. Like, it's just not an environment you want your kid round. I mean, if you don't want yourself in there, what do you want your child in there for?
I don't know, Frank, when I lived in Little Alton, in and out of jail. Frank in the book.
Oh, yeah.
He helped in the book. I get him. He's been with his missus a long, long time. And I did speak to her. I would love to speak to someone on that point of view who has been in and out and still in and out and probably will be for the rest of their lives, because like he said, it's just you know, his work is this. You know, he's here and there and he's up to no good.
I think some people just get stuck in a cycle and they don't know how to get out of it. I think it's just easier for them to go to jail rather than admit defeat and, like, what a start a better life. I mean, a lot of people said that about Marv. Like, he'd die in prison. Marvin said it himself.
Well, what we just said, he had at one bit £800 a day.
Crack habit. That's what I mean. And, you know, you've got to be on your feet for some hours a day grafting to get that money. You know, I've been nicked through him before. I've had my door come, because I've been with him in town. And, you know, loan's been known to me before I've been, you know, come and met him in town. He's committed a crime, and because I'm on camera, one day I just come home from work and I was having something to eat. That's what I'd met him after work. And my back door and my front door come back down on top of me. I'm sat there going, oh my God, what are you nicking him for again? Spotlight's heat, but there was this cop and he just didn't like me. Obviously, because I'm a mouthy cab. And he went, no, you're getting nicked. So when you arresting me for what? He went, well, you'll see that when you get to the police station. I went, you're having a laugh, aren't you? I literally thought he was joking. They locked me up till the next day. And they kept coming in and they had all these crimes on Marv, and they were saying, you know, he's told us a lot about you, about all the crimes you've been committing. You know, trying to saying that he was saying stuff about me so we'll turn against him. Madness. Absolute madness.
So you just said something then that, again, people might not realise, you know, I'd come in from work.
Yeah.
You've legit worked most of your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've had properties that you've invited him into.
Yeah, of course.
And then he's come in...
And just brought a whole load of trouble to my door. I mean, that's probably the majority of why we moved so many times. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely... Everyone knows your business, you know what I mean? If you live on a small street and, you know, the police... But they'll knock on next door and say, is she in? And then me and this neighbour, this fella, we ended up beefing that much. The housing wouldn't just go for mediation.
Because he was getting harassed because of more...
Off the police,
not you.
And then it comes to, well, we're going to have to evict you if it keeps happening. So obviously the council's got to pay for the door. If you don't pay for the door, the police are not going to pay for it.
So how many years did you live thinking that was like normal your life or whatever?
5.5 years. I lived with that. 5.5 years.
How long since you last went to prison now?
10 years in July.
10 years. You know that? Is that an
July.
anniversary? Will you be celebrating?
I always tell him. He got out in September. So he's been out 10 years in September. So he'll be clean off crack in July, yeah. In July 7th, I think it is, yeah. He got locked up. Because he got a bit of a longer sentence then. You know, there was going from 4 weeks to 6 to 8 to 12. And like he said, like we had a judge called Judge Gilbert, and he said, look, I'm going to have to start giving him 2 years, 3 years. He's like, you know, he's taking the piss. He's on a CRASBO order. He's been tagged. He's on probation, and he's just basically sticking 2 fingers up. Because like I said to you a minute ago, rather than admit defeat and go and get help, that's the only life that he knew to live. But that wasn't a life that I'd lived.
There is no help really though, is there?
No, there's no help. There's no. You have to do it.
For addicts, right, you know, rehab is, I know that from talking to people, is not what I expected. You know, the moment you land in rehab, someone's trying to sell you drugs, asking you whether they've got any on you. It's not what I thought it'd be. You know, it's not sterile places. People aren't searched. No. It's not a drug-free environment. It's like-minded people.
Well, it's funny because I know a girl, and I'd seen it on her Facebook last night, and she's in rehab, you know, for being an alcoholic, and she's losing her mind. She wrote it on Facebook last night saying, people are knocking on her door drunk, you know, do you want to come and have a drink? You're meant to be in a secure place, a rehab, where, you know, you're meant to be getting clean, and like, by the sounds of what she's saying, she's really struggling not, you know, to relapse. That's, how can you class that as a rehab?
Do you think it's... Right, I understand there's got to be a punishment for people, but, you know, if you look at I-Wing at Strangeways, Detox Wing, you said Detox Wing, you know, they hand out subbies and methadone or whatever. However, people come in and just carry on using drugs and go out. Do you think there should be something else in place? Do you think?
Yeah. There's got to be something, do you know what I mean?
Well, there's plenty of models around the world, and the problem is, sadly, I don't think anyone cares. No,
they don't care. I say this to you all the time, like, you're just a statistic. Like, they don't really care.
I'll tell you a statistic. I will probably go through it again, and I'll do a little vlog for people who want to know what's really going on with criminal justice. But it's like the latest government white paper on crime and that. So they have models where they predict, you know, where crime's going. Yeah. So the latest white paper, by 2026, they've predicted how many more people will be in prison, yeah? Also, this is factually right at the moment, they are going to provide, by building prisons, 3 or 4 more Titan prisons and smaller prisons, another 18,000 places. So they're not addressing the prison population, they're building more spaces. However, the spaces they're going to provide by 2026 is way under what they're expecting to be locking up.
So I mean, it doesn't even make sense, does
they don't care, do they?
No, they don't care.
And I heard people who are supposed to be intelligent people talking about this, saying that prison does work. The only thing prison does is keep the public safe by keeping people locked up.
Yeah.
Those people say prison does work, and
see, I'm on the fence with that. I don't think, not for people like Marvin, prison doesn't work. You know, rehab doesn't work. You've got to want to change. And if you don't want to change, then ain't no one's changing you. I know a lot of people say to him, oh, okay, we changed it. I didn't change him. I might have been stood there beside him, cheering him on every step of the way.
You might have been a reason for him to change.
Yeah, but, you know.
Did you give him ultimatum in then?
I told him, when I last walked on that visit, I'm done with this now. Like, you are draining the life out of me. Obviously, I'd not long been attacked. You know, I needed more than he was giving me. I needed that love and that protection. Like, I went home the day after I got attacked. You know, you think it's nice climbing in a bed on your own and you're crying for, you're crying for him and you want that arm around you and for him to say, everything will be all right, babe, we've got you, babe. And you can't. You just got to wait for the letter to land on the doorstep or the R6 phone call on the landing. It's heartbreaking being with a criminal. It is. It's making me well up now. It's heartbreaking. It's so hard.
I think maybe we should do, when we start doing lives, maybe have you both and, you know, people who have loved ones in prison. Because a lot of people, you talk to people now, don't you?
Yeah, I talk to Bex and Vicky.
Watch the channel. You know, they've had trauma in the past or whatever, or loved ones in prison. Because there is no one that understands, is there? No.
And I think like I did, I forget, like, you know, people are, you know, still going through it. Like, I told you when, you know, I'm not going to mention who, but when I heard her story, it knocked me back, and then it makes you think, fucking hell, you've been through fuck all compared to that person. It's
you shouldn't do that, because, you know, you've been through quite a lot, and you still... But talking about experiences, things that happen and that does help people quite definitely, so...
Yeah, me coming on the channel, and then people, like, you know, they've messaged me, they've commented on me videos, like, you know, it's kind of like...
Well, they realise there is other people, and they look at it. You yourself, I've never actually asked you this, really, so... Does it feel like a weight's gone off your shoulders? How do you actually feel now? Or is it a relief, or...
Yeah, it's a relief. Don't get me wrong, it's hard dragging it back up, and, like, you know, like, I've not been 100% with my mental health and stuff, but it's like I'm healing. Like we have a joke like that, you're like my dad, and my little brother come round last night, and I said it to my little brother, and I said to him, how does that make you feel, like, you know, comparing him to my dad? And my little brother just went, you know, if someone had said that to you 4 years ago, you'd probably hit him. He went, but it's like you're healing now. Like, it's like letting it all out. You're allowing yourself to heal. Like, you're not, you know, hiding.
Carrying stuff around when it destroys you, doesn't it?
Destroys you. Absolutely destroys you.
So, you know, maybe you are going to go a few steps backwards and things like that.
But know that for every step you'll step back, eventually you'll take two forward.
So that's a little insight now. I want to finish my brew that's back at the gaff.
Oh, man.
Thanks for that insight. Do you think that'd be a good idea? In the comments, guys, if you'd like us to do, you know, a live question and answer, so you people...
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'll tell you what is very sad, but a little bit of a positive. A lass made a comment. She says, I don't understand prison, Sam. I don't know anything about prison. My two boys, sadly, are going through this in and out of prison now. You know, but now watching things, I'm starting to understand it a little bit.
Yeah. You like giving people an insight. I mean, I wish there was stuff like what you're doing round when Marvin was, like, on drugs, because you do need that help. Like, you know, the police will lie to your face. You say to me, tell us where he is and we'll put him in a private rehab for 10 grand. Or they go to me, you know he's with another woman, don't you? They try and wind you up.
That's the side of things you don't see, do you?
No. And that's, like, it's a struggle, because then, even though you trust your partner, well, you should do 100%, you still got that niggling little doubt in the back of your head, like, well, yeah, what is he doing if he's out for 5 days? You know, is he with another woman? Because the police and the courts, they get into your head. And that's why probably some women and some men can't handle it. They can't handle it.
Difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, very difficult one.
And then, you know, there's the victim side, which victim or survivor, yourself
Yeah.
and other people. There's that aspect of things and people's families, because again,
Yeah.
do you think your family, you kept it away from them really, didn't you? You kept it away from your dad.
Yeah, my dad knew he was in and out of jail, yeah.
But also what happened to you.
Yeah, I kept some of that away from my dad.
Because, yeah, you know, it's going to serve no purpose, is it?
It's not, it's just going to, like I said when I did my story, that was my pain, you know, I didn't want to inflict it on anyone else. And, you know, they can know the outside of it, but to go into the ins and outs of it with your parents or your loved ones, it's just going to cause them hurt, and you don't want them to feel how you feel. That's why I didn't allow my family in the courtroom when I was giving evidence.
They obviously wanted to support you, didn't they?
Yeah, of course, but then it comes out in the papers, and you know, you're reading snippets in the papers of this, and then it's online. So, but you can try your best, you know, to keep it from them, and they'll find out little bits. But no, as far as sitting down and talking to somebody, it's just what good can come of it.
It's difficult. Nobody wants to think of the people who love being hurt, do they?
No, I've told you, you know, I wouldn't have liked to see that look in my dad's eyes. I mean, I seen it when I come home and had been attacked, so imagine, you know, if I'd have actually told him the ins and outs of it, it'd have broke him. You know, it'd have broke my mum, it'd have broke my brother. I mean, my little brother, he's like my twin, so he does know, like, the ins and outs of it, like, because he's
not little now, or is he?
No, he's not. He'll always be a baby, though. You know?
To you, he will.
Listen, he's only just cut the apron strings off.
So have you talked about it with him at all, or?
We don't really talk about it, but I know that he knows, and you know, we don't talk about it. It's not something we'll sit down and talk about. Like, I know he's watched my last video, the grooming one, but we won't sit down and talk about it. It's just that I know he's watched it because he'll send me a big, massive text saying how proud he is of me and you know, how much he loves me. So that's his way of saying, like, I've got you, I understand you, kind of thing.
Which is a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
So in the comments, if you'd like us to do a live question and answer, away you go.
That'd be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
Shall we leave it like that?
Yeah.
There you go. Do you want to try and say I'll sit there?
No, absolutely not. Not showing myself up like Marv.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
I'll sit there.